Welcome back to the Foreign Report, your weekly geopolitics show that's covering all the gory details of foreign policy from the United States and around the world. And hopefully, I mean, God, I hope we make you smile every now and then. I'm Sina Gazdavi, your foreign policy curious host, with our guest host from OHIO.
That's how you spell the state.
I'm supposed to let you do the IO.
That's all right. Here, we'll do one for Pennsylvania.
Okay. NNSYLVANIA.
Nailed it.
That was
it's a lot of letters.
I think I'm sweating. Travis Irvine, he's with us in the virtual studio, Columbia Journalism School graduate. If you've got a question, send us an email, theforeignreportlpn@gmail.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. People are coming in to the YouTube. I mean, not a few weeks ago, we had 8 people. Now we're up to 900 some. This is incredible.
Woo!
Keep on doing it. I'm plotting. I shouldn't say plotting. That's not that's a very
scheming.
Scheming, also charged word for me to use.
Deceitfully thinking.
I think I'm just planning.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, to do some. It'd be like a Friday night wind down. Would that be nice?
Oh, you know I'm down. Every Friday I need a wind down.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Might as well hang out with a friend.
Things change so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, with like even stuff that we're going to cover the show today, by the time we're done recording, what am I doing here? Rate us on YouTube, rate us on Spotify, rate us on Apple Podcasts, but give us a positive rating. Don't give us a negative rating, okay? Let me be very clear.
Yeah, we don't want that.
I'm not saying like, hey, please give us like honest feedback. I want you to lie to yourself, go to these platforms, say wonderful things. You know, if your partner says, how do I look good in this outfit? What do you say? You don't say, well,
yeah, you don't even pause.
Don't pause.
Don't pause.
Immediately type positive things.
You do the one look, and you say, you look great. Let's get out of here.
TheForeignReportShow.com is our website. You can sign up for our newsletter where we do some follow-ups every Monday from the show. And, of course, follow us everywhere on social media. Travis, we're coming back from the break. Thank you, Ambassador Joseph Manzo, for last week. That was really fun. Yes. That was a great, interview we banked before. Okay, Travis, I want to talk about the headlines. Let me just rattle off. We're not even going to get to all of these stories. Maybe we will get to all these stories, but I just want to rattle off what's happening. Trump inked a deal with the Saudis. It's insane. They're spending a lot of money domestically, and so they're also promising to invest, billions of dollars in the U.S. Huge deal there. We'll see how much it actually comes into play. He lifted sanctions with Syria, so that's kind of like a Syria reset that just happened. Saudi Arabia committed to $600 billion to invest in the U.S., and the U.S. agreed to sell Saudi Arabia an arms package worth nearly $142 billion, according to the White House, which is it's calling it the largest defense cooperation agreement Washington has ever done. They're also going to lift all the free speech regulations in Saudi Arabia. So there's free speech now in Saudi Arabia.
Whoa.
No,
congratulations.
That's not true. No, that's not fucking happening. No,
all right.
It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Women's right now. Oh, they could drive. Oh, great. Great. Welcome. We continue to do business there. We're going to talk about this 747, this Boeing gift of a $400 million jet that Trump is going to use.
The palace in the sky.
Yeah, but we're going to talk about it because it's going to be very expensive. It's not a gift. Also, gifts.
Right.
Gifts. You're not supposed to take a gift.
Yeah, take a gift from a foreign government. Why not? Should turn out just fine.
I hate him. What's going on? India and Pakistan. We called it.
You called it.
We said that was going to happen.
When
I say I called it, it really was me reading an article that said India will strike Pakistan.
Right, there you go. So,
India said we're going to strike Pakistan, and then they went and they struck Pakistan. And Pakistan knocked down some air fighters, some planes, and apparently the U.S. and some other third parties helped negotiate the ceasefire, but India is not happy with the intervention at all. Pakistan, both sides are claiming they won.
Great.
And no word if the Ghaznavi missile was unsheathed, by the way. We've got a tariff update. The UK deal was made. This is like a big, heavy quotes for that UK deal, by the way. We could talk about that a little bit later. That's not an official trade deal. It's got to get approved by Congress, but they can do things like remove tariffs. But, you know, there was a lot of talk about trade deficits and unfair trade practices that were happening. And surely, Travis, you know that we had, I don't know, what would you say the trade deficit was with us and the United Kingdom?
Oh, probably billions and billions.
Hundreds of billions?
Oh, so many billions.
Thousands of billions? Billions of billions? No, we had a trade surplus.
Oh.
Surplus.
So they... so not a deal.
No.
Not a deal that we had to...
Nope. Didn't have to do it. Didn't have to do anything. Rolls-Royce gets to make their engines. It's what a mess. It's not even official. It's an email. Okay, like a fancy email. China talks.
This tariff could have been an email.
Could have been an email. And the China talks that resulted in a slight walkback from the tariffs. So we had 150% tariffs on China. We're going back down to 30%, which is not like small, which is still a substantial 30% on all the goods. Okay, great. Fantastic. China reduced theirs to, I believe, 10%. We've also got another mishap at the Pentagon. They lost another plane in the water.
What?
These things should float. We also got an Israeli-American hostage was released, but the U.S. negotiated directly with Hamas and only notified Israel of it happening. We'll get to that a little bit later. That's kind of wild, what's happening right now with the administration icing out Israel on a lot of these talks. So more to come on that. And thank God these white Afrikaners got refugee status.
Wow, finally.
Finally, you know, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International have all rejoiced that the Afrikaners, who happen to be white, are all are getting refugee status. And of course, we've got the JD Vance corner. Ugh. Oh God. Every week, new stuff.
But it taps in to another thing we did cover on this show recently, and that is the new Pope.
New Pope. Chicago Pope.
Chicago Pope. It's like that show Chicago Hope.
Yeah.
But it's a Pope.
Chicago Pope. All right, let's talk about this 747 plane that was a gift from Qatar.
Gift. No strings attached whatsoever.
Okay, so I don't want to bore everyone with the emoluments clause talk in the Constitution. But, okay?
I'm sorry. You said emolument?
Wake up! Wake up!
Sorry. Emoluments? What'd you say?
Emolument.
Oh, hey, seeing it. We're doing a show.
Oh, my God. You can't give a gift. It's in the Constitution. Don't take a gift. Okay?
We love our founding fathers, don't we, folks?
And he says, we're not doing anything for it. We're not getting anything for it. They're just being nice. No. Listen, you get the gift, you smile and say thank you, that's a problem.
Right.
Anything. You even make eye contact with them when you accept. That's the thing.
Right.
Anything.
I remember when Trump accepted a soccer ball from Vladimir Putin back in 2018 for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And that's what got us started. You start with a soccer ball, you end with a $400 million jumbo jet.
He justified it as a temporary replacement for Air Force One and stated it would eventually be transferred to his presidential library and decommissioned. Critics are arguing that this acceptance definitely violates the Constitution's Foreign Emoluments Clause, which prohibits federal officials from receiving gifts from foreign states without congressional approval. And, not for nothing, retrofitting this plane means you have to basically deconstruct this whole thing
for free
and rebuild it.
It won't cost us anything, right?
No, don't look at that. Don't look at that. Don't look at the costs. Don't look at the budget to rebuild it, to put all Signal Gate, the Signal telemessaging apps, which, by the way, I didn't even include that in the headlines. That's another thing that's happening. Anyways, we'll talk about that. It's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars to retrofit this thing. And guess who's going to pay for that? It's not going to be Qatar. It's going to be you and me, Travis.
What?
Just us. Just the foreign report.
I was told it was costing us nothing.
No. But who is the Qatari government? Like, what is Qatar?
I wanted to ask you that. As a dumb American, I look at a map of the Middle East, I see big countries. I see Saudi Arabia. I see Iran. I see Iraq. And, I'm not totally ignorant. I know that the Middle East used to be the Ottoman Empire. And after World War II...
Bubba, it used to be the Persian Empire. Be careful. You could get hurt in the wrong neighborhood.
After World War I, me, the French, the British, and the Americans carved up the Ottoman Empire and put lines, thanks to a great bit that John Oliver did called Sir Maps-a-Lot on The Daily Show way back when. That's basically my knowledge of how the boundaries and lines and countries were drawn in the Middle East. But what is Qatar, and why do they not have a U after the Q? You telling me there's no U in Qatar?
Yeah, I think you should bring that up with the Arabic language. I don't know if there's a central planning committee for that, but you can.
I'll write that down right now on my to-do list. Call Arabic dictionary. Got it.
Travis has a very legit to-do list and a schedule. So if people don't know that.
And I have a journalism degree.
Yeah.
So when I was writing to you about Qatar,
do you know what?
I put a U in there and it's like not spelled right. I'm like, what's going on?
For those of listening on the pod, Travis held up his hat because I can't.
It's
I don't
too
believe
hot
him
to wear it right now. I'm recording.
when he says I have a journalism degree.
I have a journalism. I do have the degree hanging right there. Do you want me to?
There you go. That would probably be more impactful than just the hat. But you know what?
This is an expensive hat.
Yeah.
I'll grab the degree by the end of the show. You'll see the degree.
Thanks. So they're an absolute monarchy and led by Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. And it's one of those countries that's very concentrated, as you could probably guess, in fossil fuels. So it's got a ton of liquefied natural gas. It's like one of the top providers of liquefied natural gas. Per capita, so like per individual, basically, right? It's like one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Remember they had the World Cup?
Yes, I'm glad I get to have 2 World Cup references in this show. Not just Russia, which hosted it in 2018, but then, like clockwork, they pass it off to a completely not corrupt country, Qatar. But that was mired in controversy because Qatar supposedly bribed all the FIFA officials. Many people had to step down. They were also building the stadiums in the extreme heat of the desert with slave labor.
Yeah, they would take the passports of people and then do indentured servitude for people to build this thing. And it's insane. I mean, this is their move. They buy into, U.S. institutions. They've bought into universities. They buy into things because they got to flex that cash. And it's kind of crazy what they've been able to do. But yeah, to your point, back in the day, Sir Maps-a-Lot, back in 1916, there was a treaty that was signed when the British left that area. Who would have thought the Brits were there, and now they left another mess?
The Brits left a mess behind in their colonialism? Go on.
But what I think is important here is that Qatar is kind of separate from the other Arab countries. They don't necessarily get along as extremely well with them. It's still small, like 3 million people there. But they opted for independence when Britain left. And they did not join a federation of other Arab countries that would end up becoming the United Arab Emirates. And so this is how Qatari has built itself up. They have closer relations with the Islamic Republic of Iran. They also are one of the people negotiating on behalf with Hamas. So they're like the mediators in there as well. So there's a lot to be thought about there. And so why did Qatar gift Trump a luxury plane? Well, it's not rocket science. It's influence, right? There's a lot of security agreements. The Qatari government has built a military base for the U.S., which is like, I mean, how are these not gifts? How are these not? These are things, and this is pre-Trump. They built a military base. I mean, here's the thing. When we look at Trump making moves in the Middle East, you have to think about a couple things. Well, really just one thing. He's going to make money off of it. Period. The amount of businesses and business relationships he's now building in Qatar and in the rest of the Middle East is going to be insane. He's going to make billions off these things. And this is what, and since we're not into the soft power, look, here we are. We're just taking the money there. We're getting soft powered. We're getting power bottom soft.
As long as it's soft, that sounds fine.
I think it's fine. What else about Qatar? Oh, big supporters of Al Jazeera, which I like Al Jazeera. I don't have a big problem with Al Jazeera. But then you're like, oh, man, it's Al Jazeera. They were a majority shareholder in Miramax. They've got huge real estate portfolios in America and a huge investment in Barclays. It's just crazy.
And, of course, Qatar, it seems like they really do love soccer because Barclays, as any soccer fan knows, is the sponsor of the entire English Premier League. And, of course, Barclays has the huge sports facility that was built in Brooklyn when we still lived in Brooklyn.
The Barclays Center.
Yeah, you lived nearby. And I remember I would walk from your apartment to my subway stop and you'd pass this gargantuan thing that they were building called Barclays Center. So all of that is somehow connected to Qatar.
Wow. It all goes back to that money, that big old money, man.
But they like Western culture, and that's what I find is interesting. They want the World Cup in their country. They want to have influence in terms of the British Soccer League or the big sports facilities, even in Brooklyn. That's what's interesting to me is that Qatar seems to be using their soft power, a.k.a. their tons and tons of money, to get Western culture to, I don't know, make them a part of everything. They're like the rich kid who just wants to hang out.
Well, if you get your hooks into American culture and American spheres of influence and power, then that will protect you inherently. That's a lot better than becoming a nuclear power because then people are just like, well, they do have some human rights violations and they employed slave labor, but
they throw a great party.
Jay-Z had a great time at the Barclays Center doing a show.
Woo, what a World Cup. 2022. What a time.
Yeah.
They're like the Great Gatsby of countries in a way. It's like, hey, come over. I am having a huge party. And that's all I do. I just throw huge parties.
And so this gift that we got, that the president received, which is, again, like we have Air Force One is 2 planes. Okay, there's 2 planes, and we've ordered another one, and he was complaining the other day that we didn't get this other plane, but it doesn't take away the fact that this is a huge conflict of interest, that if they're giving us a plane, they're going to want something in return. And so what does that mean? Does that mean that then that Qatar can use this gift purchase or this, goodwill that they're forging with Trump to help with the negotiations with Hamas? Maybe. Because you could see what we talked about earlier, Israel's getting iced out of all these negotiations because I think even the Trump administration is acknowledging that, like, I think Bibi is a little fired up. He's a little difficult to work with.
Bibi's in trouble in his own country, as you've pointed out.
Yeah. And so that could be a thing that's happening behind the scenes. Like, I don't see Trump playing three-dimensional chess. I do see the Qataris playing three-dimensional chess. They have all these countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the UAE. They have so much money and wealth that they can take a much longer time horizon when they make a move geopolitically. The United States, he's got another year and 200 days before the midterms, and then everything's going to change. Inshallah. As they say.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And so, of course, foreign policy risks, national security risks, getting in bed with Qatar. These are things that, and then forget about it. The taxpayers are all going to have to pay for these things. That's a huge conflict of interest. That's a huge problem. It's a violation of the Emoluments Clause. I don't even know how we're even going to accept this. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, said that it's okay based on the fact that this was something that Reagan did, that it was decommissioned. I swear to God, if this plane gets used from his presidential library, I mean, already this is going to be just a mess. Because some people were saying he would still use it himself afterwards.
Oh my gosh!
But if that, I mean, that'll just be a mess.
It could be the presidential library. It's a palace in the sky.
God.
At least while Trump's riding in it, though, there won't be any books in there. I think we know that much.
Not a single one. There'll be like 150 copies of The Art of the Deal that'll be like factory sealed that no one will have ever opened.
A single book.
Other examples of Trump's conflict of interest? Who would have thought? Who would have thought we would have other examples of conflicts of interest? Promotion of Tesla at the White House. We all remember that famous scene where he was like, "It's all computer. Everything's computer."
And I haven't driven a car in a long time, but I do love computers, even though I have not used a computer in my entire lifetime either.
God, what is that? MS-DOS? Launch of Trump-linked cryptocurrencies. I don't know if we saw that. The Trump coin and World Liberty Financial. Trump is the chairman of that. I mean, these are clear ways. I think I saw a Bloomberg article that 58 wallets have made millions of dollars on it, like crypto wallets. But then another 750,000 wallets have lost money.
Oh, wow. I wonder how that happened. It's almost like the money doesn't disappear. It just goes from one place to another place.
And so we've also, with this tariff thing, we've seen how Trump has gone back and forth where he's taking the tariff on, taking the tariff off. And when he puts the tariff on, people sell off in the stock market. But when he takes the tariff off, he goes and pumps the market.
Yeah,
now,
he goes on Truth and says, "Great time to buy.
Yeah.
One more hour to buy."
Yeah, exactly.
No conflict.
No conflict. He makes an announcement, but sometimes, and by sometimes I mean every time, there's a lot of activity in the stock market just minutes before he makes an announcement. Now, you would think that we have rules against insider trading. No. And what is insider trading? Trading on material, so that means it matters, non-public information, which means Trump announcing it is the material information that gets made public. Do you remember Martha Stewart?
Great. Love Martha Stewart. I'm pretty sure the guy who got her in trouble was Donald Trump.
Yeah. She went to prison for this.
Yeah.
So every time these people are making money, I think we have a stat here. All right, so this is from Unusual Whales. This is a great handle to follow on Twitter. So this is, they've been tracking this quite often when there's a big announcement from the Trump administration. So before the China example, right before the close, in the final minutes of the market, traders bought millions of SPY calls, which is basically people making a bet on large volumes of us, like the market, the S&P 500, making a bet that the market's going to go up, right? And these aren't like individual stocks. This is like the index of the S&P 500. And now these calls were out of the money. Basically, what this guy is saying is all these people went in minutes before the announcement, before the markets closed, made these bets, these kind of long shot bets that no one was making, bets that are unusual to be making, very unusual, millions of dollars. In one day, all of these bets went up 1,400%.
Wow. What?
And they got out that Monday morning. They are trading on insider info. And it's abundantly clear. So that's just where we're at with that. Okay, so we started with the plane, but the plane is that's just one piece in the tableau of conflicts of interest, Travis. He's got the crypto stuff. He's got Elon Musk the promoting the stuff. He's got the stock market thing that he's making money off of. And all of this stuff is going to start playing out. You're going to start seeing the moves from this plane, how it's going to, impact his decision making in the future. I mean, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah. Well, and I look forward, just in the same way he brought Elon Musk and a Tesla on the White House lawn, just parking that big old jumbo jet on the lawn, giving a tour. And one thing with Trump, I was reading about this plane. It's got 9.5 bathrooms in it. Trump's going to take a big stinky dump in every single one of them and just wipe his ass with the annulments clause of the Constitution.
On that note, for Travis Irvine, I'm Sina Ghaznavi. This is the Foreign Report. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Foreign Report. I'm Sina Ghaznavi, your foreign policy curious host. With me in the virtual studio is Travis Irvine, Columbia journalism grad, comedian extraordinaire. Look at that. Give me that hat. Give me that hat.
Look at that hat.
Look at that.
I'll grab the diploma off the wall here shortly.
It's fine. We believe you.
Everyone I'm in the office here in Ohio, and it is nice to just look at me like, yeah, I did that.
We see you.
I did that.
I want to talk about India, Pakistan, because...
Please talk about India, Pakistan, because we talked about it before spring break. You predicted it. Then it happened, and then it was over. And I was like, I barely had a cocktail during the entire time. It's a very slow spring break.
It came and went. Thank God it didn't escalate. Now they're going back to kind of like dance fighting on that Kashmir border, which I don't know if you've watched the videos of these guys. It's incredible. I think, is that offensive, dance fighting? No. But it does look like dance fighting.
It's like a Bollywood movie. I love it.
It really is. The ceasefire, though, is holding, although the two sides were kind of like saying that either or both of them violated it. But there's very different narratives about what happened there. Trump can't stop claiming credit, and it's like kind of eroding relations with India. We blindsided them basically and said that we were the reasons that they made, the ceasefire happen. Pakistan acknowledged that the U.S. was involved. Trump also pissed off, India by even just talking about the peace. India doesn't want the fact that someone else was involved to be at issue here. They want to be the ones that were the ones that stopped bombarding Pakistan, because they're not going to view a terrorist attack anymore as just a non-state actor. They're just going to straight up blame Pakistan. And so and they didn't want to negotiate so quickly. I mean, both of these powers are nuclear powers. And so neither of them were ready to kind of back down here.
They wanted to scrap.
Yeah, they wanted to get in there. Internal Indian critics question whether peace was brokered too early and whether India hurt its standing by allowing the U.S. to get involved. Many Indians saw America's praise for both countries' leaders as implying equal treatment, whereas India sees its military action as a legitimate response to the attack in Kashmir's Pahalgam region on April 22nd. This is just going to be a mess. This is, again, from The Economist. The more alarming conclusion is that next time, India will probably hit back even harder and keep going after Pakistan rattles its nuclear saber. I mean, there's going to be a lot that happens here.
And all of this started because of that terrorist attack that took 26 lives, I remember, tragically, you're talking about. We talked about it before the break. What was this seems almost like a skirmish, not so much a battle or a war. What casualties, what losses were we talking about that happened during our spring break, during this entire conflict?
Yeah, some people died. I don't know the exact numbers. Obviously, innocent people were killed in this. But I think the thing that is crazy, and people should look up this New York Times article. There's a crazy video of a guy on a zip line. And so remember I was saying it's a very mountainous tourist region. And so there's a guy with a selfie cam video, and he's got it pointed at his face, and he's just grinning. Because, you're on a zip line. You're having a good time.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing people start scrambling, and you can hear a pop, pop. And this guy, I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm sorry. But it's kind of crazy. It is insane. This guy, he's just going like, hi, this is Ohio. It's so fun. And he's on the zip line, and then people are scrambling, man. It is insane. He captured the background of his selfie cam video, captures the terrorist attack happening, and then he gets to the end of the zip line. He's like, well, that was a fun video. Uh-oh. And then he has to go find his family. But he got out alive, thank God. But wow, it was insane. So India sees that as a huge aggression, and they don't see it as just some terrorist group doing it. They viewed it as a group that Pakistan supported. And so that's why they're going to go after them even harder next time. So we'll see what happens there.
Interesting. So this, in India's mind, this is a battle, if not a war, with another country. Maybe in Pakistan's mind, this is just a group acted up, and India's mad about it. But the U.S. comes in and puts India in its place?
And it's a powder keg. It's not so much that they were trying to escalate it, but they are ready to escalate. That's the crazy thing. So more to come on that. We'll see if something pops up. And again, no word if the Ghaznavi missile was unsheathed or not. Tariff update with England that just happened. Not an actual deal. It's just a handshake agreement. And, again, we didn't have a trade deficit with the UK. This is just a show. We still have these tariffs with China. And so we're going to track all of this stuff that's happening moving forward. And then I want to talk about, oh my God, another plane went into the water, all connected to the USS Harry Truman stationed in the Red Sea for operations against the Houthis, which, again, another deal that got made with the Houthis between the U.S. and the Houthis. The Houthis agreed to not bomb or send rockets to any U.S. missiles, U.S. ships, by the way, but they didn't agree to not shoot any rockets at Israel.
Oh, boy.
And then Israel's like, wait a minute. And then the Houthis were like, yeah, we're not going to go after any U.S. stuff, but we're still going to go after the Israelis. It's like, wow. Shit is wild now.
It's just a world full of powder kegs.
I don't know. Sometimes I think, like, when I see these things happen, I try not to react immediately because I'm like, wow, do I like this deal? What do I feel about it? And then I have to wait. I'm like, okay, I just have to wait to see how these things play out because you get such a small piece of information that you got to just think about it. But this ship situation, these ships are in there that are like ready for small skirmish battle. But to date, since I think it was since December, we've lost 3 planes and there was a ship collision. So, since December of 24, an F-18 was lost to friendly fire. That's $180 million. In February,
and
the
friendly
USS
fire, we all know, is the friendliest way to get shot down.
That is the friendliest. Hey, buddy.
Ah!
February, USS Harry Truman collided with a merchant ship. That didn't feel good. April 28th, an F-18 crashed into the Red Sea when the tow crew lost control of it. Both the aircraft and the tow tractor went overboard. They call that a yeeting. They got yeeted.
Yeeted?
Yeet.
How much do these yeetings cost exactly? When an entire plane goes in the ocean, is that expensive?
$60 million.
Oh, God. That could have funded all of Sesame Street.
Forever.
For a long time.
May 6th, the F-18 and then another F-18 failed to catch during a night landing and crashed into the Red Sea. So we're just, also, imagine you're a fish. Just minding your own business.
The ecosystem.
It's just going to be a fucking coral reef soon. We've also got this crazy thing. The last living Israeli-American hostage was released. And that was a result, again, back to how everything is interrelated. Qatar is a mediator in these negotiations. U.S. negotiated directly with Hamas to get this guy released. And this is the first hostage release since March when Israel broke the ceasefire agreement. And so Israel has promised to just keep escalating everything. And it seems as though that the administration is taking that as a signal to just go at it on their own and try to get more hostages, which is baffling to me, too, that, even in this administration, they're going and getting more hostages released than Bibi Netanyahu was. This is just how extreme Bibi is and the Israeli government is right now.
No, so the Trump administration is just like, maybe we protect our own interests.
Yeah.
Don't, hey, Houthis, you don't shoot our ships. Everything else is fair game. Let's go in and get our guys out as hostages. They're almost like Bibi's not getting the job done.
He's getting a job done.
He's getting a job done.
He's
a
getting
job no one asked him to do.
Yeah, the job that every human rights organization has said, I don't think that's a good job.
Not a good job. Please don't do that. Please stop doing that job.
Pump the brakes.
Oh, please.
Pump the brakes on the ethnic cleansing, please.
Oh, God.
Israel, though, is trying to claim partial credit on it, which is like insane. Hamas said it was a gesture of goodwill because there was this interesting interview that Jeremy Scahill did with a Hamas leader recently that I think everyone should listen to. And what I think is interesting is there is a deal on the table from Hamas to basically say, let's have a truce for 7 years, 5 to 7 years. Let's just have peace. Let's everyone put the arms down. But literally Israel's like, no, we are going in. We are conquering. And it just kind of takes your breath away that we're sitting by. I was thinking a lot about how many times in our past has the U.S. stood by. And we stand by a lot. Rwandan genocide. I mean, even Yugoslavia, there was a genocide. We're standing by this one. I mean, we stand by. We always say we stand up. We stand up for. We actually just stand by, which is the sad thing.
Keep our eye on it, as they say.
We're just going to take a look. You guys let us know. We'll write some letters.
Right.
It'll all be fine.
It's like watching a hole in the ceiling. Just like, I'll keep my eye on it.
Israel is continuing to bomb civilian centers, hospitals, and they're just going to go in. I mean, I don't know how this is going to stop. Europe, Macron was just quoted as saying, Israel's approach to this has been disgraceful. Even he was like, Europe can't do anything. The U.S. literally needs to stop sending weapons to the Israelis. So,
do you think that's now on the table? Because we are, okay. We're making too much money. We just sold a bunch of weapons to the Saudis too, didn't we?
Yeah.
Hey.
And so I think what they're going to try to do is maybe economically make this move happen. But really, at the end of the day, nothing matters unless there is a political solution to provide the Palestinians with the right of self-determination. Anything short of that, you are going to continuously have an occupying force that has created apartheid in that part of the world, and that they are going to subjugate those people to violence, and then you're going to have violent responses in return. I mean, you could ask anybody. If you were a Palestinian kid, you'd probably take up arms and fight. I mean, it just blows my mind that we're just kind of like passively letting all this happen. But I mean, such is the world as we know it. But I'll tell you one group of people that has gotten a real help from our country. That's the white Afrikaners, the ethnic minority in South Africa.
Finally.
Yeah, those guys that, they had their own apartheid, and Trump signed literally an executive order in February granting them refugee status, which, by the way, what we also just did was take away the protective status of Afghans that were in this country. They're now going to get deported. We're talking about Afghans that were here that had helped us in the 20-plus year war that we had in Afghanistan. People that put their lives on the line, and now they're going to get sent back to Afghanistan, and I'm sure the Taliban will welcome them with open arms and waterboarding.
They'll welcome them with arms of some sort, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, my God. 49 Afrikaners arrived on Monday. What are they going to think when they're like, it's kind of expensive to live here.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks right now.
Right. And then Americans start making fun of their accents. Just like,
are you Australian?
You're white, but you don't sound right. What's up with you? Yeah, it's not just Afghans. It's Haitians. It's Venezuelans. I mean, we are literally removing the temporary protected immigration status of hundreds of thousands of other legal immigrants. This program's been around since the George H.W. Bush days.
Yeah.
But let's let in 50 white South Afrikaners. And that should
I
hey,
swear.
we're not anti-immigrant. You can't say that because I just let 50 white guys in.
If I hear about even a jaywalking ticket from one of these Afrikaners, okay, I want to know.
The crime that we've just imported nothing but crimes. I mean, look at what the white South African guy in the White House is doing. He's robbing us blind.
Yeah, man. God. All right. I can't with this anymore. This was too much. This was like, I feel like I got waterboarded with news just today. This was insane.
We went all the way around the world, and none of it was good news.
Yeah.
I guess. But hey, at least Qatar's on the case.
Should we have a good news section?
I might have some good news for you coming up in the next segment.
Oh my God, stick around. Travis Irvine, I'm Sina Gazavi. This is the Foreign Report. We'll be right back with some potentially good news. Welcome back. I'm Sina Gazavi. This is the Foreign Report. We just talked about the plane. We talked about conflicts of interest. We talked about the white Afrikaners. We talked about the ships. We talked about the planes, more planes, tariffs. Oh my God, India, Pakistan. I can't keep up. Bring us back down to earth. Bring us back down to earth.
Well, we got some good news for you there, Sina. We have, in fact, on this show covered another big foreign international story, and that is, of course, the passing of our late Pope Francis.
Oh, right.
Which means the Catholic Church, which, of course, has influence over 1.4 billion Catholics all around the world. So this is a international repercussion story. They picked a new pope, Sina.
No word if Pizzaballa was a close second?
I'm actually so glad you mentioned Cardinal Pizzaballa, because I did read a story about his 90-year-old mama who was in a rural Italian town watching to see if her son... Mrs. Pizzaballa.
She was throwing a pizzaballa in the air.
She was making the pizzaballa. And she was a wonder. And they interviewed her, and she was waiting to see if her son, who is a cardinal, by the way, he's a very interesting. Yeah. We make jokes about.
But they're all cardinals.
Cardinal Pizzaballa, yes. But Pizzaballa, he's the Cardinal of Jerusalem, and he actually, when the whole Israeli-Hamas conflict got started, Cardinal Pizzaballa actually offered himself up as a hostage to Hamas to get all the other hostages back safe. So we make the jokes about the Mr. Pizzaballa.
He's like, I bring me, and I bring a pizza, but I bring garlic nuts.
He is a Pope of pizza, but he is also a Pope of peace. And that's what his mom was saying. So she was a little disappointed, but also very happy he was even considered. And instead, as we all know now, the Pope that got placed into the new pontification is a guy from Chicago. Robert,
who is doing Wordle with his brother. I think that brother is he's gonna get nerfed real soon. He is not gonna be allowed to talk publicly.
Robert Prevost, ladies and gentlemen, the cardinal who's originally from Chicago, spent a lot of his time with the Catholic Church in Peru. He is fluent in English and Spanish. He also got his PhD from the, I don't know, what do you call them? The Catholic school in Rome. It's got a big long name to it. It's like St. Augustine.
It's a Phoenix Online Catholic.
Yeah, it's a community college online. It's a long one. But he did get a PhD from Rome, so he's also fluent in Italian.
Perfect.
But this is, in the entire thousands and thousands of years of the Catholic Church, this is the first American Pope. We just had a South American Pope. This is the first North American Pope from Chicago. Everyone's made all the jokes you could ever want about a Chicago Pope. But I think it's pretty cool because he does seem like a very peaceful man in the vein of Pope Francis, in that he wants to support the working class. He wants to support, he wants the wars to end. He wants immigrants to be respected. And this is where a new piece of good news, ladies and gentlemen, on the issue of immigration, the new Pope has already beefed, as of January and February this year, with the world's worst vice president, J.D. Vance, everybody.
Give it to me.
Pump it into your veins, Cena.
Let's go.
The new Pope tweeted in a now deleted tweet or blocked or whatever it is. But when Robert Prevost was just a mere cardinal, he actually tweeted out an article, which, no joke, the title of the article is J.D. Vance is wrong. Jesus doesn't ask us to rank our love for others. This all goes back to the Trump administration's essentially war of words, Cena, about the issue of immigrants, about whether or not we should treat them with dignity and humanity. And as our brother, welcome the stranger, as we all know, is a term that we see in Christianity a lot. So cardinals around the world, including our new Pope, Leo the 14th, took issue with J.D. Vance and Trump on this issue of immigration. And now we get to basically see J.D. Vance. I mean, unless J.D. Vance goes and kills this Pope, which we all know is exactly what he did with the last Pope, I say, you know what? You're never going to hear me say this, but I'm rooting for the Pope. I am rooting for the Catholic Church.
I don't know if I'm going that far.
When it comes to J.D., hey, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. All right.
This is a real
J.D. Vance
Ohio moment here.
Hey, you want something? You want to know something? Hold
on. Uh-oh.
Look at this. This is a degree.
Here comes the
Columbia
degree.
University Journalism School.
Why is it written in crayon? Why is it written in crayon?
That's how they write things at Columbia. Columbia. That's where
for the audio listeners, that's a real diploma.
That's a real diploma. And the only thing that J.D. Vance has on me is his law degree from Yale, which is much more impressive, unfortunately. So there's many reasons why people hate J.D. Vance. For me, it's just personal and professional in a lot of ways. But now it's pontifical. And I'm glad to see my boy, Cubs fan or White Sox fan.
He's a White Sox fan, right?
Either one. Chicago fan. Pope Leo the 14th. Let's see the rumble. Bring it on. Pope versus JD for the next 20,
and I think
30
he's
years.
69 years old, so he's got at least a decade or 2 decades.
Yeah, Pope Francis lived to 88. So give me 20 years of JD Vance hating.
Oh my God, it'd be incredible.
Hey, buddy, I'm not saying I'll convert.
Sexual assault. I mean,
that's bad.
But do you hate JD Vance?
I'm not saying I'm going to convert, but do I hate JD Vance more than I hate the Catholic Church? Yes, I do.
Wow, I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
I understand. Just
if I was from Ohio, I'd be with you.
So that is your piece of good news, Cena. The new Pope,
I feel great,
doesn't like J.D. Vance. And there was an interesting article I read, too, out of J.D. Vance's hometown, Cincinnati Enquirer, which is J.D. Vance's hometown newspaper. A couple other things just to stack on our boy J.D. First of all, they did an analysis as to the viral vacation of J.D. Vance. Like, when everyone says that J.D. Vance killed the Pope, we all know that he actually did kill the Pope.
Okay, this is satire, by the way. Our TikTok of this video got taken down because I guess the algorithm thought we were serious.
Well, and that's the thing. We're not the only show that's talking about this. The entire internet is talking about J.D. Vance killing the Pope to the point that memes and videos and everything went viral. And it is interesting because they actually interviewed some professors who study why things go viral, essentially internet culture. And it all comes down to the fact that so many people hate J.D. Vance, but also J.D. Vance, because he's around our age, he adds to it. Like, he will tweet out the memes that are technically anti-J.D. Vance memes. He plays along with it. So because he is of this generation, it's one of those things where it's like, you want to make fun of the bully if you know the bully is going to know about it. Does that make sense? And that's why people love to basically pile on J.D. Vance on the internet. Again, as we've reported on this show, he is the least popular vice president in the history of since they started keeping track. And he's also one of the most hated mans on the internet. So I thought that was interesting. One last bonus piece out of Cincinnati. J.D. Vance's half-brother ran a half-assed campaign for mayor of Cincinnati, and he only got 11% of the vote in the primary. He does move on to the general election, where he will probably still only get 11% against the very popular Democrat incumbent mayor of Cincinnati. But
J.D. Vance was promoting
He was J.D. Vance actively said, go vote for my brother. But Cincinnati has not had a Republican mayor in 50 plus years. So this is clearly just another ploy. And in the same way, a lot of people felt J.D. Vance's political career was just a ploy for.
You mean the guy that called President Trump Hitler and then went?
Yes,
and
exactly.
Became his
it was
vice
all
president?
a publicity stunt. But now look where we are. The publicity stunt has gone international.
Well, we got 4 years of this publicity stunt. Sweet
maybe
Jesus.
more.
Mm-hmm. God, maybe more.
President J.D. Vance has a help
emoluments clause. Go to sleep. Emoluments clause. Go to sleep.
God,
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
I'll just dream of Pope Leo the 14th.
Well, I think that wraps it up for today.
That's plenty of news.
That's so much news.
That was like decades packed into one spring break.
That was a lot. We had to get a lot of catching up there after the spring break. Next week, I'm excited. We got Marcus Parks to light up the airwaves again for us.
Parks gets political. Part 2.
Part deuce. Again, rate us on all the platforms. Only positive things. Send us an email with your questions. We'll try to get to them at some point. I'm Sina Ghaznavi for Travis Irvine. This is the Foreign Report. That's his diploma. We'll see you next time.